Welcome back to the BroadBoys podcast. I'm Cade. This is Micah.
What's up?
You might notice this might be a Game Award themed episode. We're fresh off the press of Game Awards 2024, the 10th year anniversary of Jeff Keighley's beloved child.
Yes, they were last night. Lots of world announcements, lots of awards given.
And we have a lot of thoughts and opinions about all those things. I think we'll do the awards later. But for now, I think we just want to talk about how excited we are.
About the releases.
About some of the new things that were announced. And also some of our confusion, maybe disappointment, maybe other feelings we have towards some other things that were announced.
I have feelings, and a lot of them.
Well, how about we start with the first big announcement of the night, right when they started the actual show.
Yep.
They showed off The Witcher 4. Now, as a not Witcher player yet, you know, it's in my library.
Yep.
Gonna play it at some point.
Witcher 3 is a good place to start.
That's the plan. Yes,
Yep.
Witcher 3. You've played The Witcher 3.
Yes, twice.
You didn't seem that excited about Witcher 4.
Okay, two things. One, didn't show a lot of gameplay trailer. It showed Ciri was going to be the main character, which I was kind of expecting. And so, you know, there was a part of me that was like, they're not doing the Ciri route when they were doing all the pre-announcements before, because it was like they're going to do the Order of the Lynx or whatever. But this makes sense. She's going to found a new order. That just makes sense. Or it might not. She might have already founded it. Whatever. I kind of like it. There was a part of me that was like, I was really hoping we would get into a different sort of aspect of the Witcher lore, but I don't mind. It's a continuation, and I think it's a very valid continuation.
Okay, and so correct me if I'm wrong, but The Witcher, it is based on a book?
A book series.
Book series.
Yes. Well, so let's do a little deep dive here, right?
Yeah.
So the Witcher books all take place, right? And then the end of the books, spoilers right now, if you haven't read them and intend on reading them and haven't played the games, I guess, because the games pick up right after the books end. So the books end, he sacrifices himself to the Wild Hunt, and he rides the storms for ages, right? He comes back at some point, and that's where The Witcher 1 takes place. He's lost half of his memories. The game is him, all of his memories. The game is him sort of relearning himself, that sort of thing. So all the games take place after the books have been written. Okay. So it's their own story. They're not following any narrative from the actual book author.
But it's based on an already established universe.
Yes.
Do you think they'll ever go back to the books, or do you think that have you read them?
I have read the first one, and that's it. So when I started playing The Witcher, they weren't all translated, and so I hadn't started all the books.
Translated from where?
Yes, he's a Polish author.
Okay.
So the last two books weren't translated when I first started playing The Witcher, and so that kind of put me off from, starting to read it.
Yeah.
But they're all done now. They've been done for like 8 years now. Goodness, it's been a while. So I should really go and finish reading them all.
Okay.
It's been longer than that, because I remember when Witcher 1 came out, and that's when I was like, I'm not going to play all these yet, read all these books yet. But anyway, it's a continuation. I don't think they would go back, especially since the Witcher show came out and did horribly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it that bad?
Season 1 was okay. Season 2 was pretty rough, and then Season 3 was unwatchable.
Okay, because I thought it was like Henry Cavill was kind of like keeping the show.
Henry Cavill was booted.
Yeah, because he was a fan, and he was
he was like, you guys are not doing this right. For a show called The Witcher, he was in, I think, less than half of Season 3.
All right, well, there you go. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so to me, as a non-Witcher person, it felt like a big deal.
It was.
I'm sure it is I know it's a big deal. It's a huge deal.
Yep.
It won Game of the Year 2015.
Yes.
As we've established already.
Yep.
So it's been almost a decade since The Witcher 3, and I know there's been a DLC, a big expansion.
There were 2 DLCs, but only one was massive.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I was actually nominated for one of the awards one year, which I think we talked about.
We did. So that's pretty exciting. Like, I think it was well known enough.
Yes,
where people-
and it was fully rendered in-game engine on what is probably, well, it said unannounced RTX card, so the RTX 50 series.
yeah.
Which is really cool because if that was all rendered in engine, that is probably some of the best photorealistic renders that we've had.
I mean, that we keep pushing further and further.
Well, I know,
but
basically.
it's cool that they got it on an unreleased card.
I know.
I think that specifically, that point is like, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, and it looked great. Like, I know we've talked about how I really like when it looks really good, but as just like a Witcher fan, the more you can get immersed into the dark, gritty nature of the game, I think the better. It is what the genre needs.
Okay, great. Yeah, and so that started off the show, which was
Somewhere in there, yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, you had your half hour before where they showed off like a new Ninja Gaiden game,
Yep.
which is super cool. Slay the Spire 2,
Yeah.
which I did not expect. I don't know if there were rumblings of that yet,
I hadn't heard anything.
but that's a pretty big deal too for the indie scene. I mean, I played a lot of Slay the Spire 1.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It has a board game now. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that. That's cool.
So it's a super big deal. Super big deal. And honestly, I didn't even know it was a sequel though until they showed the new character.
yeah.
I thought it might be an expansion or something like that. But no, it's a sequel. So it's just more Slay the Spire, which if you like Slay the Spire,
This is great
you're
for
gonna
you.
love the game.
Yeah.
That's another 1,000 hours right there. I don't think I'll buy it full price.
No, I wasn't the biggest Slay the Spire fan, but I was, completely aware it was a good game.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny. I know there was also like a Dave the Diver expansion.
Yep.
There's a couple expansions announced. And then it was The Witcher. And then they did the combo of Witcher 4 into Elden Ring.
Yeah, the new Elden Ring one, which looked really good.
Can we just talk about how crazy it is that Elden Ring released in 2022?
Yep.
They said there was no plans of a sequel or series or something
Yep.
like that. They do the DLC
Yep.
in 2024.
Yep.
And then, which is 2 years after, so it was
Yep.
unexpected anyway, because I was like, oh, the time has passed. They're not doing DLC.
Yep.
They dropped the DLC later, surprised everyone. And then, not even a year after, they're going to do Light Rain, or Dark Rain. Something like
Night Rain.
Night Rain.
There we
I
go.
had the two
Yep.
concepts. I just smushed them together. It looks wild. I was popping off. I was super excited.
I know. I was super excited too until I read the announcement wiki or whatever
Yes.
it was that they
Yeah,
released.
and we should talk about it. But my excitement has not really wavered. It's still more Elden Ring.
Sort of. So it's made by From Software, but why am I blanking on his name?
Miyazaki.
Yeah, Miyazaki's not involved. Period. And then it's partnered with, was it Bandai Namco?
Yeah, Bandai Namco has worked on.
Yeah,
some stuff
they've
before.
worked on some stuff, but the difference that when I was watching it, the key difference was generally it's From Software, and then you've just got their logo below it. But this one was very specifically from Bandai Namco and From Software, which is just interesting. It was just a little tidbit. Maybe it has nothing to do with it, but
Yeah, I mean it's a spin-off, and
Yep.
they've said it's a spin-off where it's multiplayer
Yep.
spin-off, and it seems more like
well,
a rogue.
So they called it a PvPvE, but then in the release wiki, it said there was no invading, no anything like that, and they weren't expecting it to be a live service game.
Yeah,
So what you see is going to be what you get.
yeah.
I don't know. I didn't super like their announcement and then the announcement also came with a whole bunch of comments on separate forums because they had let people try it out. And I saw a lot of comments that were saying that, well, this is like super like Fortnite coded.
Really.
So you launch into the game by coming out of a cloud, holding on to your glowing bird, and that's your drop in.
Yep.
And then what you have is each day your version of Limgrave gets shrunk down with it in a giant circle with a storm cloud. And then once it shrinks down, you're in a little boss arena. Then you got to fight the boss. So your whole point is you got to fight all these little mini bosses and enemies, and you're going to collect resources that are going to help you fight the main mini boss. And then you do one mini boss, then you do a second night mini boss. And then the third night is the big one, which is this is why it's your rogue light. It's not a rogue game, I guess.
I don't know all the details, but the bosses look sick.
Yeah, I will say the bosses look sick. In the trailer, if I'm not mistaken, from the breakdowns I saw, there were only 3 fully unique bosses. All the other ones are pulled from Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, which is not a bad thing.
It's not a negative for me.
It's not a negative thing.
I'm very happy about it. I saw the Nameless. I looked like the Nameless King. I can only assume, but I was popping off for Nameless King.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that a lot of the mini bosses are gonna be pulled from other games, and then the main night bosses are gonna be unique because we saw the one that was the 3-headed wolf.
Yeah, I think what it's really going to come down to, if it's like, for me, an 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, is how collecting gear works. Because, like, it's going to be a repeating thing because you play with 2 other people, so it's 3-person cooperative, and you do this 3-day system.
Yep.
So my question is, what's the progression? Like, what rewards are you getting when you do a cycle? And then what is the actual, like, you're in the nitty-gritty, how are you getting weapons? Are you just dropping with the same loadout each time? In which case, I don't like that as much as finding weapons.
Well, there. I'm curious to wonder if it's like an extraction game where if you lose and you don't complete the night, you lose everything that you collected. But I also am concerned that it's not live service, because games like this, you're going to max out your content and be done. And so the fear is it's either going to come out content saturated or it's going to come out with not enough content. Like, there's a very fine line you draw between a good amount of content for a game like this and just not enough or way too much.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, a game like, well, let's take Diablo 2. You know, like Diablo 2 Endgame is, I mean, if it can get somewhere to that, you know, even though it's not necessarily like Diablo 2 didn't have like all these. Well, it did have an expansion or something like that, but the end game app base was still pretty good.
Well, I'm really hoping. So this is like my optimism side. Is I don't know if this is gonna be From Software's best. I really hope it's not like a blemish on their name or something, right? I'm like holding out hope that it will be good. In my mind, what it is as an ideal is it's them testing cooperative for a future, like normal Souls-like game with built-in co-op. And then what I'm thinking is that they sell this for like $30 instead of a full price. And then no one complains about content levels because it's a $30 game.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think there's no way they don't sell it for $60. Personally, I mean, granted, if they do sell for 30, I can see why, because it's used content from all the previous FromSoft games. I'm personally way more optimistic, I think, than you are, because I love cooperative Dark Souls and Elden Ring.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I played through, and I need to do this with the DLC, but I got a group of like 5 people, and we played through the entire Elden Ring co-op mod together, and that was one of the funnest things ever. And then also some of the, like, I see the vision, and I know what I'm not. It's definitely straying further away from Dark Souls, and I know that because of the way that you run around and the vertical traversal in particular.
Yep, you get like a double jump or
a double jump. You can climb up walls, that sort of stuff. It's not. It's going to be way less level design because it's not. It's going to be random places each time. So what the focus is on the cooperative combat and the bosses. So if they can nail the co-op combat, I think that my biggest concern is going to be with quality. It's only been supposedly in development for 4 years at maximum. And it's supposed to be, they didn't use the word procedurally generated, but they said you get a random version of Limgrave every time you drop in, which implies procedural generation or kit bashing of assets. I'm
just concerned that it's going to be a lot of ported weapons and armor from previous games, a lot of ported bosses, which takes effort, right, to make them fit into the engine they used for Elden Ring. But that's probably my biggest concern, is it's just going to feel like a giant kit bash of stuff.
Yeah.
And that doesn't strictly make it a bad game, but am I going to pay $60, or if they fit the $70 profile, for something that is the same price or possibly more expensive than Elden Ring was? You know, it just feels odd to me.
Okay. I mean, I think I want to see a couple more trailers first, or maybe like even an overview, like here's how a cycle works, or here's how the game works, because that's when I'll really determine for me if I think it'll last or be, you know, what the legacy is gonna look like.
A lot of the people who played it, it's still under NDA and stuff, so everything we know is based off their official release on how the game's gonna work, and then people's opinions on some of the things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm holding out hope. I mean, it's still From Software, and they haven't been shitified by being bought out yet. So
yes, which then is also like, if this is really bad, they did this pre-Sony buyout.
I know. So I'm really hoping that that's not the case.
Like, there's no excuse if this is bad, which I'm worried about, because From Software has never done me any wrong, and so other than not releasing Bloodborne on PC. But other than that, they've never done me any wrong, and I am not going to criticize until it's fully out. These are just my fears.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're perfect. It's perfectly valid to have, and I think what a lot of the fears come from is that it feels so soon. It's like
it is soon.
It's like so.
They just released
crazy.
a DLC this year. They're not a big company, so they must have had split workers on both.
I know. I'm very like. And again, that makes me wonder, like, what's the quality going to look like? Is it going to be $60? Is it going to be like all those things? But I don't know. For me, I'm still like, I'm going to have a great time with that game, because all the things that they're emphasizing, I do enjoy. Not necessarily like, oh, this is Dark Souls, but oh, these are the parts of Elden Ring that I still liked. I wouldn't say it's like very Dark Souls coded.
I mean, it's built off the Elden Ring engine, so your movement, everything, it's not going to be like super janky. If you like the Elden Ring movement and everything, it's the same thing. So it's just one of those things where it's like, if it's kit bashed, but it's $30, I'm like, whatever, right? I won't care. 10 out of 10 game.
I'm wondering about if they do a similar kind of secrets deal that they do with the
I don't know that you can with a randomized.
Well, no, because I mean, you could totally do something like during your run, if you accomplish these certain objectives, this NPC will show up, and if you do their quest during the cycle, then you fight this determined boss at the end, right?
Okay, that makes sense. I thought you were talking like secret rooms and stuff.
Well, I'm sure they'll do that anyway.
I guess the hard part is it's going to just be secret rooms generated in assets. So once you know which asset a room generates in, and it's not a secret anymore, but it's the same for the base game anyway. You could do
chance based on chance percentage.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I don't know. I think if they do, and that could add to the replayability of the game, is you add these quest lines, which I'm wondering if they're going to touch at all. I think it'd be cool, because there needs to be a hub or a menu or something like that. So
yeah, it's just, I don't know that there's going to be a hub because it's not live service.
Well, I'm not saying like multiplayer hub, but a spot like, you know, the round table.
Let me customize my own round table, invite all my friends to it, and
I don't know. It's just I feel like it's a bit early to be so scared.
No, I know, but did they say a release date?
No, they said 2025.
Yeah, that's
so within the year.
I mean, within a year. I mean, it doesn't necessarily feel too early then.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm waiting to have a more concrete opinion until next, but for me, I see it as, hey, this is more Elden Ring, and it's geared towards a method of playing that I like a lot.
Yeah.
So
no, I got nothing against a co-op, whatever. I just hope it's done well.
I agree. I hope it's done well. I think if they like, what would make me sad is if they had less than like 10 unique bosses or something like that, or if it was I mean, if it was unplayable, but that's wild. Or if it just wasn't a good launch, if it was like.
Yeah, if it's a rough launch, that'll suck.
That'll suck for FromSoft, especially if they do get bought out. Then it's like you're going to lose people's trust almost immediately.
Yep.
Or people are going to be like, all right, we've seen it before.
This is a play. They want it to crash, so Sony's going to get a bad taste about buying them. It's all they're all.
We're not seeing the long game that FromSoft is doing right
Yeah.
now. Oh my goodness, that's wild. Anyway, that was a very long tangent about one announcement. I want to skip to the last announcement, and then we'll fill in the middle.
Okay.
Just because this was like one of the biggest ones of the night.
Yeah.
It was Naughty Dog's new IP franchise, everything.
Yep. In space.
Called filled with product placement.
Yes.
Intergalactic.
Yes, intergalactic. Yes, she was driving a Porsche in the sky, and it was great. I love the vibes.
It had good vibes. Now, I mean, and I want to bring this up because it kind of goes along with The Witcher 4 about how I still can't believe we're doing the cinematic only trailers.
I know.
I'm like, I think we do need to make more of a stink about it. You know what I mean? I think it's at the point where we just need to keep getting angrier the more that they do it. Yeah. Because I
give Naughty Dog some credit because haven't they launched with cinematic trailers?
I imagine The Last of Us launched with a cinematic trailer because that's what the game is. Yeah. And then you didn't see Jack and Daxter launch with a cinematic trailer, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but in terms of like Naughty Dog IPs, I mean, really The Last of Us probably did.
Yeah.
But I was disappointed that was the last announcement. Mainly because...
But it's new IP.
It's new IP.
I like new IP.
I like new IP. Don't get me wrong. I was hoping for something with gameplay.
Silksong?
I was holding out a little bit of hope.
I was holding out hope, but then they said the last one, and then there's always the part of me that's like, but wait, there's more, and there wasn't more.
There wasn't more. No, so I can't believe it. But anyway, that's a different thing.
Well, I'll talk about it when we get to the awards.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just had a thought, and it was like, oh no, we'll talk about it a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, I was not in it at all, and then they showed the last part that looked like what the game might actually play like. I'm like, okay, this looks kind of interesting.
I'm always down for a good space opera, basically.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I am not down for a movie.
I will take a Naughty Dog movie. I mean, it's good. I'm a big fan of Naughty Dog movies.
You were just complaining about The Last of Us Part 2 remastered.
Well, the remastered is dumb. It's dumb. It came out 4 years ago. It's not old.
On current gen consoles.
On current gen consoles. Who are they remastering it for? I don't understand. What are they going to do? Give me 6 more pixels? This isn't like Skyrim remastered when that came out.
And this is why Naughty Dog has been giving me a bad taste in my mouth.
The remastered makes no sense to me.
They've just been a Last of Us machine.
Oh, I know. Well, they're selling it for like
70.
I think it's actually 40 if you do the disc.
If you do the disc,
yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know what the digital.
I know there's an upgrade. Like if you already have it.
Yeah, if you already have it, you can upgrade. It's so dumb. I
don't get it.
Dumb.
I don't get it. I know Last of Us was good.
Yes, The Last of Us was really good.
I don't get the insane milking. I get the show. I think the show's good.
Well, I think
the show's
show
great.
adaptations are good when they're done well. That's
we'll talk about because the awards, but
that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah. But I just can't get behind. I mean, at this point, all right, we'll have to wait and see.
Remastered makes sense on a game that's a decade old.
Yeah,
but
But anyway, all this to say, Intergalactic. I'm more pessimistic. You're probably more optimistic.
Yeah, I love Naughty Dog games. I haven't super liked their business decisions, but I've loved every one of their games.
And I've liked a lot of Naughty Dog's past games. So it'll be fine. It'll be a big deal, hopefully.
Couple other releases, though, that looked really good. Was that 1915 Japan code name?
Project Sentry.
That looked freaking sick.
Yeah, made from the creators of Yakuza.
Yes.
Which... It looked a lot more serious versus a Yakuza game.
It gave me massive GTA 5 feels.
Okay.
Like initially.
What do you mean by that?
Just the opening It wasn't even an opening cinematic 'cause there was a little bit of gameplay in it.
There was a bigger chunk of gameplay than most of the trailers.
The whole walking out into the city, seeing everyone living, and then just punching some dude in the head.
Yes.
Very GTA 5 coded.
Mm-hmm.
Now I guarantee you there's a story, and if they're the makers of Yakuza, it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be very funny.
It's gonna be great. So I think I'm very optimistic that it's going to be a GTA 5 set in 1915 industrializing Tokyo. Or Kyoto.
I'd be
or
pretty
one of
surprised
those.
if it was that open world, but that'd be really cool.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even necessarily have to be all of Japan. Like, if you just give me Tokyo, Kyoto, and just let me fast travel between them, like, I don't need a whole lot. I mean, those cities weren't strictly as big as they are now.
The combat looked fun. It didn't look as wacky as Yakuza, but it looks super fun.
It looks fun. It looks really good. I love that time period. I'm super excited.
Yeah, so, Sega actually was doing a lot of announcements, which they've been kind of marketing that they're turning into a new Sega. I'm still waiting on a Crazy Taxi trailer because they showed a little sneak peek of it.
I know.
They showed a little sneak peek. But during the Game Awards last year, they were like, oh, new Sega, and then they showed the Crazy. Anyway, they did like a Sonic racing game.
Yep.
They did.
I was like, dude, I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's a Sonic game. Oh, it's a Sonic racing game. Dude, I have missed Sonic racing.
There's been a release in like 2019.
Yeah, well, I've missed. I want it to feel like classic Sonic racing. Man.
What's classic Sonic? Like Transformed?
Yeah.
On the Wii?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
With Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah. I bet that it could put Mario Kart running. Just you wait. I am on Sega's side here.
There's no shot.
I miss hearing Sega. And it's great. I want more of it. I want it back. It's nostalgic. And Mario Kart 8 has been out for way too long without more Mario Kart.
Yeah, 10 years.
So make Nintendo do something. Make them sweat.
Yeah. Capcom was also pretty big.
A lot of Capcom releases.
You had Okami
Yep.
sequel,
Yep.
which
Came out in like 2007 or something.
Huge deal. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's so unexpected. And then Onimushi
Yep.
is another Capcom series that hasn't gotten a game since 2004. I mean, technically 2006, but 2004. So it's been 20 years. I don't know what they're going to do for a modern Onimushi game.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Ninja Gaiden Black?
Yes, I have.
It's kind of like that.
No.
Kind of. But more samurai versus ninja.
Interesting.
So
it's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a 3D action adventure.
Who else? The guys who did Shadow of the Colossus.
Yep, Project Robot.
Yep.
They had the trailer with the big old robot and the head comes off and then it gets...
It was very cinematic. I mean, it was very much a teaser.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, Shadow of the Colossus and Last Guardian were good stories.
I personally still super like the Shadow of the Colossus gameplay, but...
Yeah. I mean, I think the gameplay in The Last Guardian is a bit weaker than Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes, absolutely.
But, they always are very interesting games, and they're worth talking about most of the time, which is better than a lot of other games.
Yeah, and I mean, these are a lot of like classic games coming back, which a lot of creators who haven't made anything for a while.
I know. And I really hope that Sony looks at this and they're like, man, Astrobot
did super well.
At the awards, and they had a large collection of cameos from Sony series that haven't been made in a very, very long time. Maybe we do something with those series.
Yeah. Oh, one last announcement. On-day release as well was the Helldivers 2 patch. He also came out, the guy who acts in the opening cinematic, in full armor to announce it, which was freaking sick. And they released a new faction, which completely out of the blue. They didn't say anything. And then at the Game Awards, they announced it and then said, it's live now.
Yeah. So we love shadow drops.
Yes. And it was so massive, especially for like a live service game that's been... they went through a content drought for a while. People are like, where's all the content? Why is nothing coming out?
They were waiting for the Game Awards.
And then they dropped a 16 gig update on a live service game with new maps, new faction, new weapons. It's so good.
Wow. Have you jumped in it?
I did. I opened it. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I haven't touched Helldivers 2, so that's a game that's been absent
won
from
2
my year.
awards.
It did win 2 awards.
Yep.
Which is honestly more than I thought it was going to, with how you've been painting the picture of how
They redeemed themselves.
it's been going up and down
They've
and up and
been
down.
redeeming themselves.
So 2 more announcements I want to talk about before we move on. The creators of It Takes Two
Yeah,
had Split Fiction,
Yep.
which when I was first looking at it, I'm like, I don't know about this one. And then it showed going through different worlds, the different things you play as. I'm like, all right, no, these guys got it. They're gonna make a fun cooperative couch like story game. It's like, it looks great. There's the one where you're like different farm animals. You turn into glizzies on the grill. So I mean, I was sold by that point, but
and they do the best thing they do ever for co-op games, where as long as one person buys it, you get a friend code.
Exactly. Amazing.
It's so good.
Amazing. And then the creators of Overcooked did Stage Fright.
Which there wasn't any gameplay.
No, there wasn't. The people I were with did not like how it looked, which it was a trailer. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but it was, I don't know. They make good cooperative games too. So I'm excited for the couch co-op style game also being highlighted.
I love couch co-op. So this is very exciting.
I was honestly impressed by the spread of announcements. It wasn't, in previous Game Awards, I felt like, man, these are all fantasy games, or man, these are all gritty shooters. But we had a large variety of indie games, weeb games, big announcements, indie, all that. So we had the full spectrum really there, which I thought was super, super cool. I think they did a great job. Not many things that appealed to me personally. And honestly, I have been convinced of this Game Award is I think Nintendo is about to, and I've said this multiple times, I think within the next month they're gonna drop their new console teaser.
They've gotta be, because they weren't represented at all.
They were like, thanks for playing with us and Into the Future, and they showed like Civ 7 and a lot of like smaller games that came out this year. Not really Nintendo titles though. And granted, and we got to think of the context. In March, they were like, hey, within the next financial year, we're announcing the Switch 2 on Twitter on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
On random Tuesdays throughout the year, they've been like, hey, you can play Switch games. Hey, your NSO subscription will transfer over and we're doing stuff to it. Hey, it's just randomly.
Yeah.
So,
well, their total lack from the Game Awards makes me think they're coming up with something big of themselves.
I think it's going to be a big launch, which doesn't really happen with Nintendo. I mean, the Switch was a big launch because of Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
But that was the only thing that was there for the first couple months.
I wonder if they're launching a new IP with the new console.
They typically do.
I know.
So you had Splatoon, you had ARMS with the Switch.
I'm hoping it's something big though, like Zelda big, something interesting.
Well, I mean, that'd be awesome. I don't know what that could be.
Well, that's the whole point, right?
It's funny. So it's like, I think, just please go back to Mii's. Please give us themes on a console.
Yes, for real.
Fix your controllers.
We missed one announcement.
Uh-oh.
Dispatch.
Oh, yeah.
That
a small little
semi-Telltale-esque game, but I'm also guessing it's got it's not like a Papers, Please type game, but it's that sort of like you got to match. I don't know. They showed a lot of things that were like borderline gameplay, but then also cinematics and
I really love the concept.
I do too.
Being a dispatch officer for superheroes, that's pretty fun.
You got to assign the right heroes to the right missions and stuff.
Oh my gosh! But now I'm remembering, just unrelated to the game, some of the bits.
No, they were so cringe,
so bad.
Oh.
At least the Muppet bit was like
the Muppet bit was great.
Was good compared to all the duo bits people had.
Yeah.
The only time I liked it when they were talking was the It Takes Two guy and the Baldur's Larian guy.
Yeah.
Those were the only people I liked on the stage. All right, I did like Snoop Dogg. I did like how
21 Pilots was out there.
They had 21 Pilots, which I was like, huh?
Yeah,
so
it's great.
That was pretty crazy. Just overall, this was a great show.
Oh, it was.
It was a great show. Like with a lot of Game Awards, I've been like, man, when is it going to end? But with this one, I was like, oh, it's already ending.
The final orchestra was great. They didn't put the camera on Flute Guy enough.
They did a lot though.
They did a lot, but like
not
they
enough.
would do the wide things, and he's like going ham, and I'm like, I want to see him. Show me what he's doing right now.
Love Flute Guy.
Every year I love Flute Guy.
It's amazing.
He plays like 7, 8, 9, 10 instruments. It's great.
It's great. So let's talk about the other side of the Game Awards, being
the awards.
The awards. We're past the games, onto the awards. I think we just got to start with Game of the Year. I've been so excited, Micah. I've been so excited. You've said numerous times, Astrobot is not Game of the Year material.
I still don't think it is.
Yeah.
I still don't think it is.
Yeah.
Black Myth Wukong won the popular vote. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting it either.
No,
I don't think anyone was expecting it. But
they looked shocked when they got it.
They did. They did. They looked insanely shocked.
I'm not upset at the game being picked because it tells a good story, right? I love the underdog picks. It's just not the game that I think should have won. Honestly, I would have been more excited if Blatro won. But
I would have too. I'm with you. I'm right with you in terms of if Blatro won, I think that would have busted everything wide open even more. But the Astrobot people made me very happy that they were chosen because they gave their respects to Nintendo.
They respected everybody.
They respected everyone. I think it just, and also I love the idea that a game that's focused on being a game like Astrobot was, a more Mario Galaxy type game with, it's, and you could say it's a family game. It was nominated for family game. Didn't it win?
It was. Yeah, it won like.
So is that the first
awards
time
tonight?
that the family game has also won Game of the Year?
No, Nintendo's won Game of the Years before.
Yeah, but not like but Breath of the Wild isn't the family game.
Well, Mario Party Odyssey won like 2019. Am I crazy?
You are crazy. That game was 2017.
Oh, maybe I'm crazy.
And I don't think the family game has ever won Game of the Year. Like, it won those two categories at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with Blatro even getting nominated. It's like the game part of the games was like being like, hey, this is what makes a game good.
Yeah. No,
and I felt like that the publishers and journalists weren't feeling that way. So the fact that a panel of over 100 of them, or however many, collectively decided that Astrobot was the Game of the Year means a lot to me. Or I mean, it sends me a message.
Yeah,
is that that's being valued more, which I like more.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I'm not disappointed with the pick. I don't know. I don't think I would have been disappointed with any of the picks, except for probably Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I probably would have not been happy with that one.
I thought that was gonna win.
Honestly, with how much Metaphor was winning,
I was okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll go through the awards.
Yeah, Game of the Year.
Let's go through the awards.
I'm not upset with Astrobot. I think it should have been Black Myth Wukong, and I would have been happier with Blatro, but I'm not upset with it.
If I had to personally choose, it'd be Blatro. So that's where I'm at.
Best game direction was also won by Astrobot. All the Game of the Year choices were also in that category.
I think that one's way more like, all right, was the word like fair or deserved?
Yeah, I think
Game of the Year.
Yeah, I have no qualms with Astrobot winning best game direction. Period. Best narrative went to Metaphor ReFantazio.
I need to finish the game,
which
is what it makes me think.
Is interesting to me, especially over like Silent Hill 2, Hellblade 2.
Over Hellblade 2 is the most interesting to me, but that makes me really want to finish the game. I'm like 50 hours in.
Supposedly there's a big ending to it, but
I believe it.
I don't know. Best art direction went to Metaphor ReFantazio.
Thank goodness. If that one didn't win, I was going to be upset. If What's Its Face won.
The other contenders, I think there was no shot. So
great. I mean, you just look at the menus. You just look at the. It's
best score and music went to Final Fantasy VII,
which I had to give it up. It up to Final Fantasy VII. The composer,
Final Fantasy's just got great music,
and the composer that they use is just like basically the GOAT. But Metaphor's music was also amazing.
Yes,
they should have brought the choir in for the final medley though.
I know
it was missing, and they. Yeah. Anyway.
Best audio design went to Hellblade 2 over Silent Hill 2.
Which was weird.
Which was really weird.
I think the audio design is kind of like what makes Hellblade, though, because it's literally like you got people in your head.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the whole deal.
I guess I haven't played it, and so I've only listened to it from the stuff I've watched. But Silent Hill 2 is
I think Silent Hill 2, the best parts about it were the audio and the performances.
Exactly.
So,
Silent Hill 2 was nominated for almost all of these categories and won nothing, which is unfortunate.
same with Elden Ring.
Same with Elden
Which
Ring.
we will talk about.
Yes.
We will talk about.
Best performance went to
Hellblade.
2.
Yep.
Over Silent Hill 2 again,
Which is crazy. That part is way crazier to me.
Still crazy to me. Yeah. Innovation and accessibility went to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which obviously it did. He literally built the game to be the most accessible platform out there. So I don't know why he wouldn't win. He's the guy who last year came out and cried about his dad dying, and that's why he's building video games.
That was the Prince of Persia game?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. I thought that was a different game for some reason.
Games for Impact went to Neva.
I don't know. I don't know this context.
Best ongoing game went to Helldivers 2 over Diablo 4, which interesting. I'm happy about it, but interesting.
Okay. I mean, the redemption must have been pretty good for you to be happy about it.
Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3,
which
deserved.
I need to go back and play it now that I found out that they added new subclasses.
They added new subclasses.
What are they doing?
They're like, we're not going to release any DLCs, no more expansions.
Here's more subclasses.
Here's more subclasses. Here's
and that's what made his speech. I'm like, yeah, this is the only good speech because I believe you.
Yeah, for real. They're just dropping content for free.
Yeah.
No other reason.
Yeah, they like the game.
They like the game.
For the love of the game.
Best independent game went to Balatro. Best debut indie game went to Balatro.
Good.
Best mobile game went to Balatro.
Yes.
Which, so good for him.
I love that. He wasn't there.
Well, he was. He was in the crowd, but he didn't want to go up on stage.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to. He doesn't want to show his face.
Yeah,
and all
he
that,
doesn't want to show his face.
Which is fair.
Apparently, he met Jeff Keighley. Apparently, Keighley liked him.
Okay.
That's all I know. So
I trust Jeff. I trust Jeff Keighley's judgment.
I trust Jeff Keighley's judgment. Best VR AR game went to Batman Arkham Shadow. Deserved, 100%.
I think it's one of the best VR games ever made.
I mean, Metro Awakening was on there, and I super, super loved what I've seen of that. I've been tempted to buy it, but I'm also like, maybe I wait till I have enough for MetaQuest 3 and then play it, but it's kind of where I'm at. Best action game went to Black Myth Wukong. Fair. Best action adventure game,
which I hate that category.
Whatever.
Why is there an action game and an action adventure game, and why is Zelda Echoes of Wisdom on it?
I don't know. Why is Astrobot on it? Like,
what was a 3D platformer and action adventure? I guess.
Like Prince of Persia was on. Silent Hill 2 was on there. Star Wars Outlaws.
The stupid adventure needs to be removed from all genre discussions.
Every single game.
It's an adventure.
Is an adventure.
It's an adventure.
I don't get it. Is it just because it has a story? It's an adventure game. Whatever. Really cringe category. Best RPG went to Metaphor.
Deserved.
Yeah, I would say so.
Best what was it? The best sim game or the best whatever went to
best
Frostpunk 2.
Which I think is really interesting, especially over like Manor Lords and Age of Mythology Retold.
Because you were saying the fans weren't liking 2 as much.
No, fans aren't liking 2. Okay, so here's the weird part. Frostpunk 2 has sold more copies, but it also has the least support from fans. So they were like, hey, here's Frostpunk 2, but it's not even a Frostpunk game.
Well, but how can you say that when there's only one Frostpunk game? Just it plays different.
Well, it's completely different. It's a
district builder versus a city builder.
Yes, it's a district builder.
Which we talked about as different, but
it's different because the survival is less related to resource management than it is compared to relation management, which is completely different.
Okay.
The sense of despair
it hits different. It hits
gone.
different buttons.
Yes, it hits different. It's completely different buttons.
It's just funny saying it like that because it definitely does not sound different. But I get it.
Yes,
I get it.
It's different. I still would have picked. I did pick Manor Lords. Went from the #1 wishlisted game on Steam, solo dev, became into the top 15 played charts on release, which is crazy for a solo dev indie strategy game. I mean, yes, I understand it's still a long way to go. It's in early access. But I don't know.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. Best fighting game went to Tekken 8.
Which I can't believe Multiverses was on there.
I just so crazy. I saw it and I'm like, I swear if this wins, I'm gonna riot.
There's no way it was going to. But the fact that it was even nominated in the first place,
yes,
just means that they didn't have many options this year.
I know.
Oh, speaking of fighting games, announcement we missed: Virtua Fighter from Sega.
Oh yeah.
Virtua Fighter. Why are they? I mean, it'd be cool if it's good. It probably is going to be good, but why are they bringing it back?
Because Sega just wants more games out right now.
Yeah, I mean, good for Sega. I hope it's great, but in terms of characters from that game, there's not a lot of characters.
Unless
so
they're
I'm
planning to build more.
Exactly. So that's probably what they're planning on doing. So
best family game went to Astrobot. Best sports racing.
It should have been Mario Party Jamboree.
I kind of agree with that, but I also haven't had the opportunity to play Jamboree yet. So
that I need to fix that.
You do need to fix that. You own it.
I do own it, and our other friend owns it.
Yeah,
it's very easy to play. So we should fix that.
We should fix that. Best sports racing game, EA Sports, FC, whatever. Best multiplayer game, Helldivers 2.
All right, I honestly think Black Ops 6 should have won.
Nope.
But I haven't played Helldivers.
Yep, that's the problem. Oh, let's skip that for now because that'll be a bigger discussion. Most anticipated game, Grand Theft Auto 6, obviously.
I mean, obviously, but I wanted Wilds to win.
I did vote for Wilds. Content creator, Queso.
Good for him.
Best esports game, League of Legends.
Good for League.
Best esports athlete, Faker.
Yay, Faker!
On the best esports team, T1.
T1, yep. So the trifecta.
Yes. Let's go to a really controversial win, in my opinion. The best adaptation went to Fallout.
Let's freaking go, right, baby?
Fallout
adaptation for the win. Did you watch it?
Yeah, of course I watched it.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but as good as Arcane?
It was clearly better than Arcane. It won.
No, it was not.
It won.
No, it was not.
People don't like Season 2 as much as Season 1.
That is categorically not true. Season 2 has significantly higher user and critic ratings. It is the first show to get a IMDb score of 9 or above on every single episode of the season.
Well, Fallout was great.
Well, don't get me wrong. Fallout was great.
Personally, I think I like, and it's definitely biased. Don't get me wrong.
It's definitely
my bias because I love the Fallout universe.
I love Fallout.
I think that the ghoul, amazing character. I think the twist that they did in episode 8. I've played Fallout games. I don't know why.
Did you watch Arcane?
Yes, Season 1.
Yeah, you didn't even watch Season 2.
But okay. I have more.
No, I know, but like,
here, I'll watch Season 2, and then I'll.
You should,
I'll give
because
a fuller opinion. But
I think Arcane was snubbed big time.
I think Fallout,
and it's not because I enjoy League of Legends. I think it's a pretty big.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
I think it's better. I think it was better than Fallout.
I don't know. I think the way that I love the cinematography in Fallout.
I like Fallout too, but I love the cinematography in Free.
All right, if you want my honest opinion for why I do think Fallout won, I do think it's the animation bias.
I think it has
against
to be
animation. Because I was expecting Arcane to sweep.
It should have swept.
I'm very excited that Fallout won.
Yeah,
because that was my choice.
Well, the main gal gets to go up no matter which one gets picked.
I know. She didn't even speak though.
She didn't. I don't know why she went up, bro.
Well, she should have spoken.
She should have said something. I don't know.
I bet it wasn't her fault.
No, I bet she wanted to say some, but they just kind of walked off, and she would have been.
And she was like, "All right,
guess I'm walking."
But I mean, I like all the characters in Fallout. I think all the bits
all
they
the
have
characters
is
in
great.
Arcane. I think all the bits they have is great.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Don't get me wrong. I think Fallout's great. I give Fallout an 8 out of 10. I just give Arcane a 10 out of 10.
It's a 9 out of 10.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Both shows are a 9 out of 10 for me, and Fallout has a slight edge.
No, Fallout gets a point below. That's all.
Why?
Because it at times didn't have the same je ne sais quoi as Arcane.
I'll take BS for 300, Alex. Oh my gosh.
Every panel in Arcane is symbolism for something in the future. No panel or screen time is wasted in Arcane. And I also think that's the beauty of animation is you do all of it. And when you do good animation, there's no reason not to have something symbolic in every frame.
Yeah, I love animation. I don't think there should be a best animation category in the Oscars because I think it's the medium to tell the story. It should be just in everything, not just relegated to one category.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid. I love animation. Don't get me wrong. But I personally think Fallout was a better experience for me. So,
I mean, compared to Arcane Season 1, maybe, but... Okay, hear me out. I liked Fallout better than Arcane Season 1.
Okay.
I think Arcane Season 2 was better than Fallout.
And better than Season 1, as you said.
Yes, I think there were certainly highs during Season 1 that I think were better than the overall highs of Season 2, but I think Season 1 had lower lows. So I think the entire season of Season 2...
But you just said every frame was a masterpiece. That's
I think for both seasons. I think for both seasons, they're both masterpieces.
Then where are the lows?
Where
are the lows?
The lows are in just the overall vibe. I don't know how to describe it. I'm dickering on points here, right?
No, I get it.
I'm 9 out of 10
This is on the spot, like off the dome, trying to articulate why you like this good show better than that good show.
Yeah.
I get it.
Like, they're both good shows, right? Like, if I'm in a goofy, silly mood, I will take Fallout every single day, but...
Silly, goofy mood.
Or even a semi-serious mood, I don't know.
I mean,
like,
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a goofy show. It's got fun bits.
There were definitely... The last couple episodes felt like a low-budget Walking Dead episode. That's just part... No,
I think the last episode was great.
Not the last episode, but the one where like he's got an arrow through his neck. He's at the radio station and stuff like that. There were bits that felt really gimmicky and low budget, even though I know it wasn't low budget.
Yeah, the guy that turned into a ghoul.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I think that was just a good character.
No, don't get me wrong. I think it was a good character. I just think it had lower lows. They weren't super low, right? I'm still giving it an 8. I'm not.
I don't know, man.
Like I'm not saying the lows were as low as The Witcher. Yeah. Like I think Season 3 was unwatchable. I think Season 1 was a 7 at best. And
let us know what you think. Did Arcane get robbed?
Yes, it did. Put it in the comments.
I don't agree. But anyway, I didn't even know that Tomb Raider got an adaptation.
I didn't know either. And then what was the other one? It was Like a Dragon Yakuza.
Which I didn't know that existed.
I didn't know that either. And then Knuckles the movie.
The show.
The show. Was it a show?
Yeah, is it HBO? It's Paramount show about Knuckles. So
interesting. Oh, you know what comes out today?
Today.
The new Lord of the Rings anime. War of the Rohirrim.
Oh, I've been seeing trailers for that.
Yeah.
Not interested yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super interested. It looks great.
Which reminds me of they had a Game of Thrones game.
They did. They had a Game of Thrones game, which I don't know how to feel about it.
Apparently, it's also going to be a mobile game.
Oh, never mind. I feel bad now.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I feel about it when I watched it because I'm like, why are we just like telling the same story? You're just now a character in it. It felt weird. Mobile game makes sense now. Anyway, not super big fan of that. I was like, wait, I know all these scenes. I've seen all these scenes, but why am I now a character in it? This isn't a new story.
I think there's a big opportunity for a Game of Thrones game to do really well.
Oh, yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
like Shadow of Mordor for...
Yeah, but it has
Lord
to be
of
a
the Rings
completely
universe.
like new story that just uses bits and bobs.
Well, I think you got to go... It's hard because you need to be around the main families of the universe.
Well, yeah, but they can be tangential.
They can be... Yeah, they can
like,
be...
Like, at least for like Shadow of Mordor, the only character... Well, I shouldn't say that. Some of the orcs are named or whatever, but the only like guy that you're with is the ghost of Celebrimbor, right? He's your shadow.
Okay, yeah.
And outside of that, you're just running around Mordor. Yeah, like you hear rumors of other bits and bobs, but you aren't around anything. So
No,
I don't
get
know.
it. I
think I almost said Lord of the Rings. A Game of Thrones game be super cool. Make it a strategy game. Make it whatever. I don't care. Just don't let me march with Jon Snow against the White Walkers. It's like, okay, whatever. It's not as interesting.
Game of Thrones Telltale game.
I love that game. I super enjoy that because it's a setting, it's also houses,
Game of Thrones kart racer.
Game of Thrones Telltale game is real, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if
I know.
you were just suggesting it. It wasn't well received, but I super enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I didn't play it,
Yeah.
but it's a good. I like the show. It's a good universe. I haven't finished it. Whatever.
You should.
I should.
Maybe
I
not.
should finish
If
a
you
lot of
if you
things.
stop
I don't
at season
know.
6, I think you'd be happiest.
Okay.
Season 7
But I'm gonna want to
was-
know what happens, so I can read the wiki page.
I would feel better not have knowing how season 8 ended.
I've already seen clips of I think bigger spoilers
It's so
from the
bad.
final thing.
It's so bad.
So I'm already long gone, buddy. Unfortunately, that's how it is. I think we'll save our personal 2024 picks for a later episode. I think my personal game of the year wasn't on here, and we'll talk about that at a later time. But we'll save it for we won't. I don't think we'll do 2018 this episode either.
No, we'll do that next time.
We'll do it next time. We're taking a small break because game of the year just happened.
Yep.
So, and check back with us in like 2 months. So,
Yep.
so anyway, so that was most, or if not all of the awards.
That was all of the awards.
All the awards, all the games, all overall. Another
Very
great show.
solid show. Yeah.
Another great show. I do feel like I know they must have just not had the runtime to do something specifically celebrating the Game Awards at the Game Awards. And they mentioned all this was our 10-year bit. This was our thing. I think a medley of the 10 games that won Game of the Year
That would have been
been
nice.
super special.
The runtime was over 3 hours still.
I know. So they don't have enough time in the show to make it happen. But Jeff, I think your show deserves something of the sort. I think that the way that it's pushed gaming into mainstream and higher up places. I mean, just the talent that was there
Yep.
from not just the game side, but the movie and Hollywood side, from the music side.
Yeah.
Like just a celebration of art
What did I read? Was it over 4 million?
on the main channel.
Yeah.
It was something wild. They've had peak viewers.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting bigger each year, which is awesome.
I feel like it was over 200 million worldwide watching. Yeah, it was 180 million, something like that. Some large number, right? Like rivals the Super Bowl for viewership. Like I went to work today and people were talking about, did you watch the Game Awards last night? And
Yeah,
I'm like,
I got asked at a Christmas party today.
yeah. And it's like, of course I did. All right, and I'm gonna make a podcast episode. And then they're like, you have a podcast? And I'm like, yes, I told you about it when you hired me, but it's okay. We can talk about it now.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're watching, you know who you are. If you're not watching, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean it's such a mainstream thing now, which is awesome.
I know.
I think what also made me happy was the even though it's getting bigger, it's still focused on celebrating games. Just even the award they gave for like Game Changer for the guy who helped provide game devs who were laid off of jobs. I thought that was nice. Even though like I don't know if there were nominees, but I feel like that'd be bad to like bring it.
Yeah, it would be pretty rough
nominated
to
and then-
nominate them, but
Yeah. So I don't know what that process looks like, but I thought that was cool. I think that the shout out for the layoffs was cool. I don't know if it did much. I mean, it didn't.
yeah, I think that there were a number of jabs at publishers. The Larian guy jabbed at publishers. Yeah.
Another reason why I liked his speech.
I was pleasantly surprised, especially since I know Jeff Keighley's been outspoken about it. He was a lot more outspoken about it when he was working at Spike.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm sure he's kept his sentiment. He's just got to be more diplomatic to keep the sponsors rolling in. But yeah, a lot of anti-publisher sentiment at this show, which is great. I love it.
Yeah. Pro gamer, pro dev.
Yep.
We love it.
I know.
So it's good to see.
Yeah, I'm very happy about it.
Well, if I had to sum up this, I mean, and that was positive. If I had to sum it up in like a couple sentences, I was like, great show.
Yep.
Not so excited for the future, just because not a lot of things interested me from this show specifically. I'm not saying I'm not excited in general. I think there's going to be amazing games all throughout the next decades to come.
Yeah, my outlook is a little different. No, the games didn't strictly excite me, but the industry trend did. A lot of the massive announcements were from smaller devs who we haven't heard from for a decade. That's cool. I'm super happy about that. That's my sort of outlook on the future. Is they're not necessarily my games, but
though we got to get rid of this trend of only cinematics for the trailer. Why everyone should have just looked at Phantom Blade Zero's trailer, which the game still hasn't come out yet, and I want to see another trailer. But I don't know if I've talked about that trailer on this podcast.
Blend your cinematics with gameplay.
Yes.
If you want to see the best video game trailer ever produced,
go see Battlefield 1.
Go see Battlefield 1. It is the best gameplay trailer or announcement trailer ever made. I'm going to die on that hill until something better comes out.
I think we need to watch the Battlefield 1 and Phantom Blade Zero one back to back.
Okay, we'll watch it immediately after this.
Yep. Anyway, just like you're going to watch the rest of our backlog of podcast episodes when you're done with this one, which is about right now. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell. Follow us on socials. Do all the other crap that we talk about every single time.
Yep.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure.
See y'all.